It's said that Egypt is one of the places the falling angels created here on earth. Now, according to religious history, we know that God appointed the prophet Moses to lead the chosen people of God out of Egypt. Why? Because the Egyptians became evil and wicked, unbelieving people and started practicing black magic. They also were oppressing and abusing the chosen people of God. They became demonic by believing that they were gods. They worshiped demons and evil spirits in their rituals and ceremonies. These are the same people who created masonry and worship the falling angels and the jinn, a race of beings that are associated with Satan and the devil. Now, according to scriptures, God created 3 races of beings. The 3 types of beings are the angels, who have no free will. They only serve God, and they will never disobey God, no matter what. The jinn are so-called beings with free will like humans. They can be good or evil. A good example of a jinn is someone that is extremely intelligent. They can tap into things that most humans don't have the abilities to do. An example of a jinn to me would be someone like Nikola Tesla. Now, humans are a creation of God that is connected to his spirit, and they have free will. And it is said that when God created human beings, that he told everything in the heavens to bow down to his creation, and Satan refused because of arrogance and his pride. We know from this that the fallen angels and jinn from Egyptian hieroglyphics are strange-looking beings that appear half human and half animal. The prophet Moses was raised by the pharaohs in the Egyptian dynasty as a brother of the pharaohs. The Egyptians and the chosen people of God might have looked like one another, but they were 2 different races of people. Kind of like African Americans and Africans, or American whites and European whites. They might look the same, but they are not the same. Salt and sugar look a lot like one another, but are 2 different things. The prophet Moses went to the pharaohs to tell them that God spoke to him and that they should believe and worship God, and they refused because they believed that they were gods. Moses and his people believed in God, and the Egyptians believed in other gods. Now, according to Moses, he was told to separate himself and his people from the Egyptians. The prophet Moses is one of the only prophets known in scriptures to ask God to show himself to him because he wanted to see him with his own eyes. So, God tells him to climb this mountain, which takes him some days, weeks, or months to make it to the top. And once he gets there, God tells him to look across at this other mountain and reveals himself as pure light, which makes the mountain crumble to dust. What's interesting about this is that God is not in a physical form or a human form. Also, according to scriptures, angels don't have wings, and they look very similar to humans in their appearance. It's mentioned in the scriptures that when the angels came to the prophet Lot, they appeared looking like humans. And when they came to the prophet Abraham to bring him the good news of a future child he and his wife would have, the angels again looked like humans. Now, getting back to the story of Moses, which reveals a lot about Egypt and the people who ruled it at the time, it's clear that they did not believe in God. God sent Moses to tell the Egyptians he was going to send 9 plagues upon them for the evil and wickedness they were doing, and because they refused to free the chosen people of God. He did this because the Egyptians refused to obey his commandments. Remember, Egypt is the place where God freed the chosen people from bondage and oppression. The Egyptians and the chosen people looked very similar, but they were 2 distinct kinds of people. The people of Moses were believers, and the Egyptians were non-believers.